You're building a life right now. But ask yourself, is it the life you want? Or is it the life you've settled for? So many of us go through life on autopilot, letting circumstances, others, or even our own doubts dictate what we become. But here's the truth. You have the power to build the life you deserve. By the end of this, your mindset will never be the same. You'll understand how to take control of your destiny, step by step, and create a life so powerful it demands respect. You can't build anything without a clear vision. Imagine trying to construct a house without a blueprint. What do you think would happen? It might start off looking like something, but it'll quickly become a mess. Without direction, you'll waste time, energy, and resources. The same goes for your life. If you don't know where you're going, how can you ever expect to get there? Let's be real. Many of us go through life without a clear vision. We live day to day, letting things happen to us instead of making things happen. And then, years later, we wonder where the time went. We look at others who are living extraordinary lives and wonder, how did they get there? Well, here's the secret. They started with a vision. And that vision wasn't just a fleeting idea. It was a detailed, deep, burning desire that drove their every decision. Take Steve Jobs, for example. He didn't just have a vague idea of wanting to create cool products. No, he had a vision for revolutionizing technology and changing the world. From the very beginning, he saw a world where technology could be simple, user-friendly, and connected in a way that had never been done before. And let me tell you something, it wasn't easy. But every step he took was aligned with that vision. When things got tough, he didn't quit because he could see the end result. He knew exactly where he was going. Now, here's where it gets really important. Your vision has to be more than just a goal. It has to be a feeling. A vision is not simply a to-do list. It's a source of energy. When you have a clear picture of what your life could look like, something inside of you wakes up. Your vision becomes your guiding star. Every action you take, every decision you make, must align with it. And when the going gets tough, when the obstacles come crashing down, you will hold on to that vision like your life depends on it. Because, in a sense, it does. I want you to think about it for a second. Where are you right now in your life? And where do you really want to be? What does success look like to you? Maybe it's financial freedom. Maybe it's the ability to live on your terms. Maybe it's health and vitality. Whatever it is, you need to see it before you can ever achieve it. A vision is a detailed picture in your mind of the life you desire. But it's not just the destination. It's a belief in the possibility. It's the certainty that you can get there no matter what. If you look at the lives of successful people, one common thread you'll find is a relentless focus on their vision. Take Oprah Winfrey, for example. She didn't just dream of having her own TV show. She dreamed of being a voice for the voiceless, of creating a platform for people to share their stories. She had that vision in her heart long before the world recognized her name. She faced rejection. She faced obstacles, but she never lost sight of the vision. I want you to ask yourself, what does your vision look like? And more importantly, why do you want it? Get clear on that, because the why will be the fuel that keeps you going when things get difficult. Your vision doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be real for you. When you have that clarity, you will start making decisions that align with your vision. And over time, those decisions will compound, creating the life you deserve. The bottom line, start with a vision. Make it vivid. Make it real. Hold it close to your heart. And never let it go. That's how you architect the life you deserve. Let's talk about something we all avoid: struggle. Most people spend their lives running away from it, trying to dodge it at all costs. But here's the truth. You can't avoid struggle. In fact, struggle is your greatest ally on the path to success. The moment you stop running from the struggle is the moment you start truly growing. Think about it. Every successful person you admire, from Edison to Rockefeller, faced tremendous obstacles. They didn't have it easy. It wasn't smooth sailing. In fact, they encountered more resistance than most people will ever know. But what separated them from the average person is their willingness to embrace that struggle. They didn't see it as something to fear. They saw it as a path forward. Consider Thomas Edison, the man who failed over 1,000 times before perfecting the light bulb. Imagine being in his shoes after the 900th failure. Most people would have given up thinking, I'm just not cut out for this. I'm a failure. But Edison didn't think that way. He said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. You see, Edison didn't fear failure. He didn't run from it. He embraced it. And in doing so, he moved closer and closer to success with every single failure. The reason most people avoid the struggle is because of fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of the pain that comes with growth. But let me tell you, that fear is a lie. It's a lie that keeps you stuck in your comfort zone, never progressing. The reality is, growth only happens when you step out of that zone, when you confront that fear head on, when you face the struggle and say, I'm not afraid of you. I'm going to learn from you. Look at the greatest athletes in the world. Michael Jordan wasn't born the greatest basketball player. He became that way because he spent countless hours practicing, failing, and struggling. He was cut from his high school basketball team. Think about that for a moment. The future greatest basketball player of all time couldn't even make his high school team. But did he give up? Did he cry and quit? No. He embraced the struggle. He worked harder than anyone else. And eventually he became a legend. Here's the key. The struggle isn't meant to break you. It's meant to shape you. It's meant to toughen you up and build the resilience you need to handle bigger challenges in the future. It's not the struggle that defines you. It's how you respond to it that shapes your destiny. When life throws its hardest punches, that's when you get the chance to show the world what you're really made of. Think about your own struggles for a moment. What's the hardest thing you face in your life? Maybe it's a failure. Maybe it's a loss. Maybe it's a setback that you thought was impossible to overcome. But look at where you are now. You're still standing. That's the power of embracing the struggle. Each challenge you face builds the character you need for the next level of success. The bottom line, struggle is a sign that you're on the right path. If you're not struggling, you're not growing. The pain, the setbacks, the hard times, they're all part of your journey. So stop running, stop hiding, and start embracing the struggle. Because every time you do, you're one step closer to the life you deserve. You probably heard the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But let me tell you, this isn't just a cute quote. It's the cold, hard truth. The people you surround yourself with will either build you up or break you down. You have to be very careful about who you allow into your life, because the right people will lift you higher and the wrong ones will keep you stuck in mediocrity. Think about the people around you right now. Are they pushing you toward your goals? Are they encouraging your growth, challenging your limits, and holding you accountable? Or are they dragging you down, telling you to take it easy, to settle for less, to stop dreaming so big? If it's the latter, then you need to make a serious change. Because you cannot build a monumental life surrounded by people who are okay with mediocrity. Let me tell you a story. There's a man named Jim Rohn. You may have heard of him. He was a motivational speaker who changed millions of lives. But he didn't do it alone. Early in his life, Jim was broke, struggling and uncertain of his future. But then he met a mentor, a man who would become one of the most important figures in his life. That mentor's name was Earl Schoaf. Earl wasn't just a successful businessman. He was a builder of people. And he saw something in Jim that Jim didn't see in himself. Earl told him something that changed the trajectory of his life. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Jim took that advice seriously. He started to surround himself with people who were focused on growth, success, and positive change. They didn't just talk about dreams. They took action. They pushed each other to be better. And as Jim's circle of influence shifted, so did his life. He went from being broke to becoming one of the world's most influential motivational speakers. It wasn't magic. It was the power of surrounding himself with builders. Think about Oprah Winfrey, one of the most successful women in history. Oprah's success didn't happen in isolation. She surrounded herself with people who believed in her, who helped her grow, who challenged her vision. Maya Angelou was one of those people. Maya didn't just admire Oprah's potential. She invested in it. She helped her shape her narrative. She pushed her to think bigger. Oprah wasn't surrounded by people who were satisfied with mediocrity. She was surrounded by builders who were committed to growth, learning, and making an impact. And this is where psychology comes in. The human brain is wired for connection. We are social creatures, and our behavior, our habits, and our thinking are often shaped by those around us. If you're constantly surrounded by people who are complacent, who are okay with living in the comfort zone, then you'll find it hard to break out. You'll start to accept their mindset as your own. But when you surround yourself with people who are always striving for more, you'll begin to think bigger, act bolder, and achieve greater things. Their energy becomes your energy. Their mindset becomes your mindset. Here's the key. Builders are people who want more for you than you want for yourself. They see your potential even when you don't. And when you're around them, their belief in you starts to rub off. But if you're surrounded by people who are stuck in their own limitations, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking small, of accepting less. And that's not the life you deserve. So, look at your circle right now. Are they building you? Are they challenging you? If not, it's time to make a change. Surround yourself with builders, people who lift you up, who push you, who inspire you to keep going when you feel like giving up. Because when you do, your life will start to transform in ways you never imagined. You'll be amazed at how much you can achieve when you have the right people by your side. Let me tell you something very real. Success is not free. It doesn't come without a price. Too many people want to live the life of their dreams without understanding that every great achievement requires sacrifice. The truth is, what you choose to give up today will determine what you gain tomorrow. If you want a future that's different from the one you're living now, you have to be willing to sacrifice something in the present. Let's take a look at the story of Elon Musk. This is a man who had a vision of changing the world, not just in one industry, but in several. He didn't want to just be a billionaire. He wanted to be a world changer. But to get there, Musk made sacrifices that many people consider unimaginable. He didn't just take the easy route. He risked everything. He invested his own money into his ventures, even when things looked bleak. He lived frugally while building companies like Tesla and SpaceX. He sacrificed personal time, comfort, and safety to chase a dream that seemed impossible to most. And today, we're all witnessing the results of those sacrifices. But here's the thing. Most people aren't willing to make those sacrifices. They want to take the shortcut, the easy road, and still expect the rewards. I want you to ask yourself, what are you willing to sacrifice today to secure your future? It's a question that every successful person had to face. Are you willing to sacrifice your comfort? Are you willing to give up time spent on distractions, on things that don't move you closer to your goals? Are you willing to sacrifice your immediate gratification for long-term fulfillment? Because if you're not, you'll always be stuck in the cycle of trying to get by instead of building the life you truly deserve. Take Warren Buffett, for example. This man didn't start his journey to wealth by living lavishly. In fact, Buffett still lives in the same house he bought in 1958. While most of his peers were out buying luxury cars and expensive vacations, he was reinvesting his money into his future. He made sacrifices in the short term so that he could reap the rewards in the long term. Buffett understood that real wealth isn't about instant gratification. It's about delayed satisfaction, making small, consistent sacrifices today to create the future you want. Psychologically, this is powerful because our brains are wired for instant gratification. We want things now. It's why we indulge in unhealthy food, why we spend money on things we don't need, and why we waste time on distractions. But success doesn't work that way. If you truly want to change your life, you must train your mind to think beyond the present moment. You must think about what comes after the sacrifice. The future version of you is counting on the decisions you make today. Every time you choose comfort over effort, you're stealing from your future. But here's the thing. Those sacrifices don't have to be drastic all at once. It's not about giving up everything you love. It's about being intentional with your choices. It's about recognizing that every time you choose to invest in your future, whether it's sacrificing a night of partying to work on your business or skipping that extra hour of Netflix to read and learn something new, you are building the foundation for the life you truly want. And don't forget this. The sacrifices you make today aren't just for you. They're for the people you love, for the people who will benefit from your success. Every time you make the tough decision, every time you sacrifice for your future, you're not just changing your life. You're setting the stage for the next generation. You're creating a legacy. So let's get real. If you're not where you want to be, look at what you're willing to sacrifice. Make today the day you start paying the price for the life you want. Because the future isn't going to wait for you to get ready. It's going to arrive whether you're prepared or not. The question is, will you be ready when it does? Will the sacrifices you make today set you up for the success you deserve tomorrow? I'm going to give you one of the most powerful secrets to success, and it's simpler than you think. Consistency is everything. It's not about having a breakthrough moment. It's not about one big idea or a lucky break. Success comes from showing up day in and day out relentlessly. The question isn't whether you'll have bad days. It's whether you'll get back up and keep going when you do. Look at someone like Michael Jordan. You don't become a legend by taking the easy route. Jordan didn't just rely on his raw talent. He worked harder than anyone else on the court. While others were taking breaks, Jordan was putting in the hours. He didn't wait for motivation. He didn't wait for the perfect moment. He was consistent. Every practice, every game, every day. That consistency is what turned a talented player into the greatest of all time. But here's the key. Consistency doesn't look glamorous. It doesn't come with a grand announcement. It's not a one-time burst of effort that leads to success. It's doing the small things, the unglamorous things, over and over again. It's making the decision every single day to keep going, even when no one is watching, even when you feel like quitting. In fact, the true test of consistency isn't in the easy moments. It's in the difficult ones. When life gets tough, when you're facing obstacles, when you feel like your efforts aren't paying off, that's when consistency matters most. Because here's the truth. Success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about failing, learning from it, and coming back stronger. And you only do that if you stay consistent. Consider Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest individuals in the world. Yet he built his fortune over decades of consistent, disciplined investing. Buffett didn't make his billions with one lucky stock pick or by gambling on the next big thing. He consistently made smart, thoughtful decisions day after day. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't quick. But it was deliberate and it was consistent. Psychologically, the reason consistency works is because it builds momentum. The brain loves patterns. When you show up every day, even if it's just for a short period of time, your brain starts to expect it. It starts to see the effort as part of your identity. It becomes who you are. And that's when the magic happens. Success isn't about extraordinary feats. It's about building a habit of excellence into your life every single day. Now, let's talk about the truth behind why so many people struggle with consistency. It's simple. Most people want immediate results. They want the quick win, the shortcut, the fast track to success. But that's not how greatness works. Greatness takes time. It takes persistence. It takes putting in the work when you don't feel like it, when you're tired, when it seems pointless. But here's the thing. If you can stay consistent when everyone else quits, you'll find yourself far ahead of the pack. Because the secret to success is that while most people are looking for shortcuts, the truly successful people are showing up every day, doing the work, and trusting the process. This isn't just about business or money. It's about your health, your relationships, your personal growth. Whether you're building a business or building better habits, the principle is the same. Show up, stay consistent, and the results will come. The key isn't in grand gestures. It's in the small, daily actions that add up over time. So, let me ask you, how consistent are you? Are you showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it? Are you staying disciplined when no one is watching? Because that's the real question. Success is built in the small, consistent moments. And if you can master consistency, you'll master success. If there's one thing that will completely change your life, it's this. Your mindset shapes everything. It's not your circumstances, your bank account, or your connections that determine your success. It's the way you think about yourself, your potential, and the world around you. Change your mindset, and you change your entire life. Let me paint a picture for you. Think about Steve Jobs. This was a man who, despite facing massive obstacles, never let his mindset be dictated by failure. When he was fired from Apple, the company he founded, it would have been easy for him to crumble. Most people would have seen that as the end of the road. But not Jobs. His mindset was different. He saw that setback not as failure, but as an opportunity for growth. And with that mindset, he went on to create Next and Pixar, which eventually led him back to Apple. Not only did he return to the company, but he transformed it into one of the most innovative and successful businesses the world has ever seen. He didn't just change his business. He changed the way he saw himself and his role in the world. The key here is that Jobs didn't let his circumstances control his mindset. He controlled his mindset, and that's what transformed his life. Now, you may not be starting Apple, but you're building your life. And just like Jobs, if you want to achieve something extraordinary, you need to take control of the way you think. Let's talk about psychology for a moment. Your brain is a powerful tool, but it only works the way you train it to. Most of us operate with fixed mindset, meaning we believe our abilities and intelligence are static, that we're either good at something or we're not. But that's a lie. People with a growth mindset, those who believe they can improve, adapt, and learn, are the ones who achieve greatness. They don't see challenges as obstacles. They see them as opportunities. They don't accept failure as a permanent condition. They see it as a lesson, a stepping stone toward success. Take Thomas Edison, for example. Edison is remembered for inventing the light bulb, but what most people don't realize is how many times he failed before he succeeded. He didn't just try once or twice. He tried over 1,000 times before he found the right formula. Every failure didn't break him. It made him more determined, and he didn't see his failures as evidence of his incompetence. He saw them as part of the process, part of the journey to success. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's a mindset that will change your life. You see, your mindset is the filter through which you experience the world. If you walk around thinking you're not good enough, that success is for other people, or that your goals are too big to achieve, then that's exactly what you'll get. You'll sabotage yourself before you even begin. But if you flip that mindset, if you start believing that you have the ability to learn, grow, and overcome, your life will shift in ways you can't even imagine. But let's be real. It's not easy to change your mindset. It's not a switch you can flip overnight. It takes constant effort. You'll face setbacks. You'll doubt yourself. But you have to keep working on your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions. Every time you catch yourself thinking negatively or limiting your potential, challenge that thought. Replace it with something empowering. Focus on your possibilities, not your limitations. Consistently choose the growth mindset, and over time, it will become who you are. The most successful people on this planet, those who have achieved greatness, didn't do it by accident. They did it by transforming their minds. They did it by understanding that their thoughts create their reality. And when you shift the way you think, you can transform your life too. So ask yourself, what would happen if you change your mindset today? What if you started believing that you are capable of more than you ever imagined? What if you stopped allowing fear, doubt, and negativity to dictate your choices and embrace a belief that you can grow, adapt, and achieve whatever you set your mind to? If you make that shift, you won't just change your life. You'll transform it completely. There's one thing every successful person has in common. They failed, and they failed a lot. But here's the real secret. They didn't let failure stop them. They didn't fear it. Instead, they used it as fuel. The question is, how do you see failure? Most people see it as something to avoid, something that signifies the end of the road. But failure isn't the end. It's a stepping stone. It's a lesson, not a defeat. Let me remind you of Michael Jordan, the man many call the greatest basketball player of all time. What most people don't know is that he was cut from his high school basketball team. Imagine that, Michael Jordan, cut from a team. If he had let that failure define him, if he had been afraid of failing again, we would have never seen the greatness that followed. But instead, Jordan used that failure as motivation. He didn't let it break him. He didn't fear it. He learned from it, and he became obsessed with improving. And we all know the rest of the story. You see, failure is a part of the process, not the end of it. It's impossible to avoid. So stop fearing it. Start using it. The biggest failure isn't failing. It's not learning from it. Failure doesn't mean you're not good enough. It simply means you haven't mastered it yet. It means there's more to learn, more to improve, and more to grow. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that the successful ones keep going after failure. They don't let it stop them. They let it push them forward. Take Walt Disney. We all know Disney is one of the most successful entertainment empires in history. But what most people don't know is that Disney was fired from a newspaper job for lacking imagination. He went on to face rejection after rejection, and his first animation company went bankrupt. If he had let those failures define him, he would have never created the empire we know today. But Disney didn't fear failure. He learned from it. He kept going. And when he faced setback after setback, he only became more determined. His failures didn't crush him. They forged him into the visionary we admire. Psychologically, fear of failure stems from the ego. We don't want to look bad. We don't want to disappoint ourselves or others. We're afraid of what people might think if we fall short. But here's the truth. The fear of failure is what's holding you back, not failure itself. The only true failure is not trying. The only real failure is letting your fear of failure stop you from even starting. It's natural to feel fear, but don't let that fear control you. Understand that failure is part of the journey. Every time you fail, you get closer to the version of yourself that can succeed. Failure is simply the price of learning, the cost of growth. You don't become great by avoiding failure. You become great by facing it, learning from it, and using it to propel you forward. Think about Thomas Edison again. He didn't invent the light bulb on his first try, or his 10th, or even his 100th. He failed over 1,000 times. But he didn't see those failures as the end of the road. He saw them as necessary steps in his path. Each failure taught him something new, and that's how he eventually created one of the most important inventions in history. The next time you face failure, remember this. Failure is not a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of what you've learned so far. The key is to use failure as a guide. If you're not failing, it means you're not pushing yourself enough. If you're not failing, it means you're not learning, you're not growing. Failure is the universe's way of telling you, you're on the right path. Keep going. So, stop fearing failure. Stop avoiding it. Embrace it. Learn from it. And use it as the fuel to keep moving forward. Because when you learn from failure, you don't just overcome it, you transform it. And when you transform failure, you transform your life. We live in a world full of distractions. Everywhere you look, there are things you can't control. The economy, the weather, other people's actions, political turmoil. The list goes on. And it's easy to get overwhelmed, frustrated, even paralyzed by all of it. But here's the truth. None of that matters. What matters is what you can control. And when you focus on what you can control, you stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the architect of your own destiny. Think about Viktor Frankl. Frankl was a psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust, enduring unimaginable suffering. He lost his family, his freedom, everything he knew. And yet, in the face of brutal conditions, he found a way to thrive because he understood one fundamental truth. While he couldn't control his circumstances, he could control his response to them. That is the key. He realized that we always have the power to choose how we respond. That choice, no matter how small it seems, determines the quality of our lives. This idea of focusing on what you can control is something that Nelson Mandela embodied as well. When Mandela was in prison for 27 years, he didn't sit around waiting for the world to change. He focused on what he could control. His thoughts, his mindset, his resilience. The external world was out of his hands, but his inner world, his values, his purpose, his ability to forgive, was something he could shape. And when he was released from prison, he didn't let the anger, bitterness, or resentment control him. He focused on what he could do, to build a new South Africa, to lead with compassion, to heal a broken nation. Most people spend their lives being tossed around by the currents of life, reacting to everything that happens to them. They get upset about things they can't change. They obsess over the future. They worry about what others think. And as a result, they end up feeling helpless and stuck. But that's not you. If you want to truly change your life, you have to stop giving your energy to things that are out of your control. Start with this. Focus on your actions. You can't control how others behave, but you can control how you respond. You can't control what happens in the world, but you can control your attitude, your decisions, and your behavior. If you spend all your energy wishing the world would be different, you'll never move forward. But if you focus on what you can do today, what actions you can take right now, you'll start seeing progress, one step at a time. Think about a time in your own life when you felt out of control. Maybe it was a job loss, a broken relationship, or a health crisis. The world seemed chaotic, and it felt like everything was happening to you. But think about what you did in that moment. Did you wallow in what you couldn't control, or did you focus on what you could? The most successful people in the world, the ones who overcome the toughest challenges, don't focus on what they can't change. They put their energy into their own actions, into controlling what they can control, and as a result, they end up creating the outcomes they desire. In reality, you only have control over two things: your attitude and your actions. That's it. And when you focus on these, you are immediately empowered. You stop waiting for things to get better, and you start making them better. You stop blaming the world for your problems, and you start taking responsibility for your own success. The truth is, the world doesn't owe you anything. The only thing that stands between you and the life you want is your ability to focus on what you can control. Stop getting lost in the noise. Stop letting external circumstances dictate your mood or your future. When you focus on what you can control, you reclaim your power. You stop being a passenger in your own life and become the driver. So, I challenge you, every day, ask yourself this question: what can I control right now? If you focus on this, if you take consistent, deliberate action on the things that are in your control, you'll start to see a transformation. Life won't be perfect, but it will be yours. And that's when true power and fulfillment come into play. You can't control the world, but you can control your part in it. And that's everything. You've heard it before, right? Give, and you shall receive. But let me tell you something. Those words are more than just a nice sentiment. They are the blueprint for success. It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? You might think, how can I give when I don't even have enough for myself? But here's the truth. Giving is the secret that unlocks abundance in your life. When you give without expecting anything in return, you shift the focus from what you lack to what you can offer. And that's the foundation of real wealth, both emotional and material. Take Andrew Carnegie, for example, one of the wealthiest men in history. Carnegie built his fortune through steel, but his philosophy of life went far beyond making money. He believed in giving, not just in terms of money, but in sharing knowledge, empowering others, and making a lasting impact. Carnegie gave away millions of dollars, funding libraries, schools, and institutions. But what people often forget is that his giving started long before he had a fortune to give away. When he was still a young man working as a bobbin boy in a textile factory, he was already finding ways to help others. He helped his fellow workers. He shared what he knew, and he connected people. Long before he received the great wealth, he started by giving what he could, and that gave him the leverage to receive even more. You see, giving isn't just about money or material goods. It's about adding value to the world. It's about helping others, whether it's through your time, your knowledge, your skills, or your attention. You might not have a lot to give right now, but you have something. The greatest wealth isn't measured by the number of dollars in your bank account. It's measured by the number of lives you impact. Think about Oprah Winfrey. She grew up in poverty, faced incredible hardships, and yet she built one of the most successful media empires in history. But Oprah didn't just give when she had a lot. She gave long before she became a household name. She gave her time, her energy, her platform to people who needed it. She shared her story, and in turn, it inspired millions. The more she gave, the more she received, not just in terms of money, but in the influence and opportunities that came with it. Psychologically, giving creates a sense of purpose and fulfillment. When you give, you are reinforcing the idea that you have something of value to contribute. It boosts your self-esteem and fosters gratitude. When you focus on what you can offer the world, instead of what you need, you shift from a mindset of scarcity to a mindset of abundance. And this shift is powerful. You start seeing opportunities everywhere, and you start attracting the right people, the right circumstances, and yes, the resources you need to succeed. Now, here's the kicker. Giving doesn't mean giving away everything you have. It's about being generous with your time, your effort, and your energy. You don't need to give everything away to make an impact. Start small. Help someone in need. Share a piece of advice that could change their perspective. Offer your skills, even if it's just a little bit. When you give before you receive, you start to align yourself with the universal law of abundance. Giving opens the doors for receiving, but it also creates something much more valuable, a sense of purpose. There's a powerful psychological principle at work here, the law of reciprocity. When you give, people are more likely to give back. And I don't mean just in material terms. When you give love, you get love. When you give support, you get support. When you give your energy, you get energy back. The more you give, the more you open yourself up to receiving, and not just in the ways you expect. You receive the kind of people, the kind of opportunities, and the kind of breakthroughs that you can't even imagine right now. So, how can you start giving today? What can you offer? Maybe it's a word of encouragement, a small act of kindness, or some time you devote to someone who needs help. The key is to shift your mindset from what can I get to what can I give? Because in giving, you'll find that you don't just receive, you transform. You become the kind of person who attracts not only the material wealth you desire, but the joy, the fulfillment, and the deep sense of purpose that can only come from living a life of service. Give first, and watch how life responds in ways you never expected. There's a truth I need you to internalize. Complacency is the enemy of growth. If you want to architect a life you deserve, you must commit to one thing above all else: evolution. The world is changing at a pace we've never seen before, and if you're not evolving with it, you're falling behind. But here's the secret. The only person you need to compete with is the person you were yesterday. Let's talk about Elon Musk. Whether you admire him or not, there's no denying the impact he's had on the world. But it wasn't always smooth sailing. Musk failed countless times. He faced ridicule, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But what made him different from most people? He never stopped evolving. He failed forward. Every time something didn't work, he learned. Every time a door closed, he found another way in. That is evolution. It's not just about moving forward. It's about the ability to adapt, to change, and to reinvent yourself along the way. If you stop evolving, you become stagnant. You become irrelevant. Think about Steve Jobs, the visionary behind Apple. Jobs wasn't just a businessman. He was a relentless innovator. When he was fired from his own company, many people would have walked away. Most would have seen it as the end. But Jobs didn't. He took time to reinvent himself, to learn, to grow. He evolved into someone who could return Apple and turn it into the powerhouse it is today. His ability to evolve was his secret weapon. Jobs was always asking, how can we make this better? How can we do this differently? That mindset of constant improvement is what set him apart. And it's the mindset that will set you apart as well. The reality is, life doesn't care whether you're comfortable or not. It's moving forward whether you're ready or not. You can either grow with it or you can resist. And if you resist, life will leave you behind. But if you grow, if you evolve, you will never be left behind. When you evolve, you become adaptable. You become unshakable. You understand that failure is just a lesson, not the end of the story. You see, evolution isn't just about becoming better in conventional sense. It's about becoming more resilient. It's about expanding your capacity to handle adversity, to deal with challenges, and keep moving forward when everything in you wants to quit. It's the ability to take the lessons from your past and apply them to the future. Look at the Amazon story. Jeff Bezos didn't start Amazon with a grand vision of dominating the world. He started in his garage with a simple idea to sell books online. But as the world evolved, so did Amazon. And Bezos? He never stopped evolving. He constantly adapted to the changes around him, expanding into new areas, constantly challenging himself and his company to grow. And guess what? He became one of the richest men in the world. What you need to understand is that evolution requires action. You don't evolve by staying where you are, doing what you've always done. You evolve by pushing yourself, by taking risks, by putting yourself in situations that challenge you. You evolve when you step out of your comfort zone. And here's the key. Every time you evolve, you unlock new potential within yourself. The person you are today is not the person you could be tomorrow, but only if you commit to growth. Don't let age, time, or circumstance hold you back. It's never too late, to start evolving. Some of the greatest success stories we know came from people who reinvented themselves when most thought it was too late. Colonel Sanders was 65 years old when he started KFC. He spent years facing rejection, but he kept evolving. And today, his name is synonymous with fried chicken worldwide. So ask yourself, how am I evolving today? What am I learning? What am I doing to grow? The moment you stop asking those questions is the moment you stop moving forward. The moment you stop evolving, you become a relic of the past, and the world will leave you behind. In the end, the path to success is a path of continuous evolution. You can always be better than you were yesterday. It's about learning, adapting, growing, and never getting too comfortable. Because the moment you get comfortable is the moment you stop evolving. And when that happens, you stop living the life you're capable of. Keep moving, keep growing, and never stop evolving. Because that's the only way to build the life you deserve. So let me ask you this. Are you ready to stop letting life happen to you and start architecting the life you deserve? The moment you take full responsibility for your life is the moment you begin to control your destiny. Remember, your blueprint is in your hands. The question is, what will you build? Final words. The life you dream of is not some distant fantasy. It's your choice. So don't wait. Architect the life you deserve, starting today.